Hello, Scott Russ, doing my information speech. Here's my audience: Wade, Jordan, Kelly. Alright. Who here has seen the movie Troy? Well, despite it being a popular movie in 2004, most of the facts in the movie Troy are not true. According to Robert Bell, a professor at Stanford and author of the book The Trojan War, states that the Trojan War got its start all at a wedding between Peleus and Thetis. It is stated that the goddess of sea, Ezra, was not invited, so she got kind of upset, and she showed up to the banquet and with the golden apple and threw it on the table. And as Aphrodite, Athena, and Hera went to go grab the golden apple, Zeus had stopped them and stated that Paris, the prince of Troy, would decide who would get the golden apple. So these three women, Athena, Aphrodite, and Hera, had promised different things to Paris to try to get his vote, because they all three wanted the golden apple. So he decided to go with Aphrodite because she promised him the most beautiful woman in the world. So he chose Aphrodite, and then Aphrodite told him that this woman would be Helen, who was the wife of Menelaus, the king of Sparta. So despite all of his family telling him that he shouldn't go get Helen, Paris proceeded to go to sail to Sparta to get his wife. Menelaus, not knowing his true intentions, was very nice to all the Trojans and welcomed them with open arms. And he had to go to a funeral, and while away at the funeral, Paris got Helen and sailed back to Troy with Helen. So once he got back to Troy, he was with Helen, and Menelaus went to all the suitors of Greece and convinced them that war is what that needed to happen. So after they got all together, all the Greeks got together and they set sail for Troy, but had problems finding it and landed on an island called Mysia, and where all the Thessalonians lived. And all the Greeks thought they were at Troy at first, and didn't know that they weren't there, and they were at Thessalonian, and they destroyed all the Thessalonians. And the king of the Thessalonians, his name was Telephus, he tried to stick up for him and tried to just end it in one battle with Achilles. Well, Achilles won because he was, according to Jimmy Joe of the book Timeless Myths, stated that Achilles was one of the greatest warriors of all Greece. He stated that so he beat him, and after they had beat all the Thessalonians and they still were not at Troy, they decided to go back to Greece because they couldn't find Troy. So they went back to Greece, and Telephus, who was really hurt, he got a vision from a prophet, and told him that the only way that he would be healed is if he went to Greece and asked Achilles, the one who hurt him, he asked him to fix him up. So he did that and went there, and as part of healing his wounds, he told them how to get to Troy. So after that, they all sailed to Troy, and it took them a long time to defeat the Trojans. They couldn't do it because the walls were too high and they couldn't get inside. So Odysseus, one of the kings of Greece, came up with a plan to build the wooden horse and to try to leave it for offering for the Trojans. And so all the Greeks set sail, acted like they were leaving Troy, and sailed to the opposite side of the island, and left one man there named Sinon. And when the Trojans came to see that the Greeks had all left, Sinon told them that this wooden horse was an offering for their forgiveness, and he acted like he was mad at the Greeks for leaving him there. So the Trojans went ahead and brought the wooden horse and Sinon back to Troy, and let Sinon live there or whatever. That night, the Trojans were celebrating and drinking and things. And in the middle of the night, when they were all asleep, Sinon came to the wooden horse and let all the warriors that had hidden in it from Greece in there out. And all the Greeks went to the gate and killed all the Trojans at the gate and opened up the gates. And outside, all the Greeks were waiting, and they waved them in. And in the sleep, the Greeks just slaughtered all the Trojans. And in the movie Troy, in the end, Paris and Helen flee and live happily ever after, and Menelaus was killed. But in actuality, Paris and Achilles were killed, and Helen was returned to Menelaus, and where she lived the rest of her days. So it's a good story, and it shows that you can't ever judge a book by its cover, because you never know what's going to happen on the inside of it. Thanks.